Now to our other big story of the day, the suspension of the state attorney for Orange and Osceola counties. Monique Worrell's position is now in jeopardy after Governor Ron DeSantis pulled her from her office today.
West 2 News has team coverage of this decision. From Dave McDaniel looking at the previous cases under Worrell's watch, Marley Martinez digging into the background of Worrell's replacement, to Christina Watkins on the impact this will have on the state attorney's office.
Stuart is anchoring from outside of the Orange County Courthouse tonight. And Stuart, walk us through what happened here start to finish.
Michelle, it all started with a sudden announcement this morning from the governor's office in Tallahassee. Governor Ron DeSantis said that suspending Monique Worrell. She's the head of the 9th Circuit here in Central Florida. And for months now, DeSantis has criticized how Worrell's office has prosecuted cases.
And we can look to see all these different instances of people who have committed criminal offenses, victimized people because they were not held accountable in accordance with the laws of Florida when they had the opportunity to hold them accountable.
Worrell is defending herself and says she plans to take the issue to court. She also says she will run for re-election. While speaking to the media earlier today, she claims the governor has put a target on her back because of politics.
There used to be a standard that I would have had to have been criminally prosecuted for something. Neglecting my duties, meaning that I don't show up for work and do my job, or that I had some sort of an illness that prevented me from doing my job. But under this tyranny, elected officials can be removed simply for political purposes and by a whim of the governor.
And while the court canceled hearings and trials this morning, cases were able to resume as of 1:30 this afternoon. Now, the governor used several local cases to support his decision to remove Worrell from office. One of those, the shooting of 2 Orlando police officers downtown this past Friday night. West 2's Dave McDaniel joins us now live from Orlando Police Headquarters with reaction from law enforcement community. Dave.
Stuart, the governor did cite that case from downtown Orlando where a man is accused of shooting 2 Orlando police officers before being killed in an exchange of gunfire with Orlando SWAT. That man also wanted in a shooting investigation in Miami. The governor saying today he never should have been out and about.
Today's decision, we had a duty to act to protect the public from this dereliction of duty.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis spoke specifically about 3 cases in Monique Worrell's jurisdiction, including the Friday night shooting of 2 Orlando police officers.
And then just this past weekend, Worrell was at the center of another major controversy.
28-year-old Dayton Vale had been arrested in March on a sexual battery charge and was given a bond of $125,000.
A bond that high takes into consideration the fact that the court was considering Mr. Veal's dangerousness or potential dangerousness to the community at that point.
Worrell saying the bond was a judge's decision, not hers, during a briefing Monday, and addressing Vale's release after her early morning suspension.
Pretrial detention is something that is used in very rare circumstances, not for someone who's on probation for trespassing.
The governor also spoke about the man suspected in the shooting death of DeShayla Ferguson.
He had previously been arrested in May of 2022 on several charges, including carrying a concealed firearm, possession of a firearm on school property, and criminal possession of a firearm by a minor.
Following up with,
he was released after all these arrests. Worrell's office did not act on any of these charges until after he killed his girlfriend and their unborn child.
The governor cited a 3rd case as well.
And invaded a home in Orange County and robbed the occupants at gunpoint. Dobson was charged with multiple counts of armed burglary with a firearm, robbery with a firearm, and false imprisonment.
Claiming the suspect didn't face the minimum sentences in the law.
After Worrell took office in 2021, 5 of the charges were not prosecuted and adjudication was withheld on the remaining.
And again, Worrell insisting today that her removal from office by the governor is purely political, and she says not based on her performance. Reporting live in Orlando, Dave McDaniel, West 2 News.
Dave, thank you. And this move by the governor sets up a new partnership between local law enforcement and the new state attorney's office in Orange and Osceola counties. Sheriff John Mina releasing a statement this morning saying, quote, "Our focus is at the Orange County Sheriff's Office is to protect our community from violent criminals. We rely on our partnership with the state attorney's office to ensure those offenders are held to account and kept off our streets. We look forward to working with Judge Andrew Bain in his new role as state attorney." And from Osceola County Sheriff Marco Lopez, the criminal justice system only works when law enforcement enforcement investigates and arrests those who commit crime, and the state attorney's office prosecutes those offenders. We welcome Judge Andrew Bain as the new state attorney and look forward to our offices working together for justice. The victims of crime in Osceola County will always come first. Now, replacing Monique Worrell is now former judge, as we mentioned, Andrew Bain. West 3's Marlene Martinez joins us now with more background on Bain's background and how he came to the Ninth Circuit. Marlene.
Andrew Bain is from South Florida, but he's made Central Florida his home. His big mission, making an impact on the community. In fact, his most recent Facebook post focused right here on Eatonville, highlighting the town's scholarship program.
The Honorable Andrew Asher, a.k.a. Terminus Bain.
Judge Andrew Bain took the bench in Orange County in 2021.
You see the difference in size, right?
His dad introduced him at the ceremony, and his wife and daughters helped him don his new robe. One of his first thanks after God and his family, Governor Ron DeSantis, for appointing him back then.
And the governor for showing faith in the young man from Lauderdale Lakes.
The 38-year-old is from Broward County. He went to the University of Miami, where he double majored in psychology and African American studies, according to the college. He also played football there as an offensive lineman. Bain then went to law school at Florida A&M. He worked as a prosecutor in Orange and Osceola counties for nearly 7 years, focusing on misdemeanor, felony, and juvenile delinquency cases. Most recently, he's been an Orange County judge. The last time we saw Bain was the election last year, when he fought off a challenge for his seat, answering a question about how he would ensure unbiased court decisions.
Make sure you're reviewing the law and making sure that that law is applied equally amongst everyone, no matter about socioeconomic, race, religion, anything to make that person different.
Bain is a man of faith.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for all the angels that you send into my life.
And his journey here, where his name is now stamped on the state attorney's seal, wasn't always clear. The football player, who once wanted to be a marine biologist turned prosecutor, told his alma mater when he was appointed to judge, "You're going to get a fair judge. You're going to get somebody that's going to faithfully apply the law as written. You're going to get somebody that's dedicated to the interest of the community and the betterment of that community."
Today, Bain said he will ensure that criminals are held accountable under the law. Stuart.